Okay, so that answer again for number 12 is going to be 35p squared minus 11p minus 72. Okay, I'm going to move on down. We've got two more problems. Five more problems left. Okay, what happens when we multiply a binomial by a trinomial, two terms by three terms? Okay, well, we're still going to use that distributive property because we can't use FOIL now because that was when we had a binomial times a binomial. But we can still use the distributive property. I'm going to take that first term and I'm going to multiply it through everything inside the second trinomial. And then I'm going to come back and do the same with the positive 2. Okay, the other method is to use the box method. And again, I have 3 by 2, so my trinomial with the 3 terms is going to go on top. So I'm going to have 4x squared minus x plus 5 here along the top, and then my 3x and my positive 2 go along the side. And then I can multiply those together. So I get 4 times 3 is 12. X times x squared is x to the third power. Negative x times 3x is going to be negative 3x squared. And 3x times 5 is going to give me 15x, which is what I would get if I did the distributive property up here at the top. And now I'm going to take that positive 2 and distribute all the way across as well, and that's going to be shown when I multiply the bottom row. So 4x squared times 2 is going to give me 8x squared. 2 times negative x is going to give me negative 2x. And 2 times 5 is going to give me a positive 10. And again, from here, I'm going to combine like terms. So I have my 2x squareds here, and I have my x terms here, and I'm going to combine those. So I get 12x to the third power. I'm going to combine these. I get positive 5x squared. And I'm going to combine my squiggle lines. I'm going to get positive 13x plus 10. Okay, number 14, I have a trinomial times a binomial, and again, I'm going to use that distributive property again. I'm going to take 2x squared, and I'm going to multiply it to 7x and negative 4. So that gives me 14x to the third power, and that gives me negative 8x squared. Now I'm going to take my middle term, and I'm also going to distribute it. And I get negative 21x squared and positive 12x. And I'm going to take my last term, 8, and I'm going to distribute it. And I'm going to get positive 56x minus 32. Okay, from here I'm going to go ahead and look at my like terms. I'm going to have 14x to the third. And I'm going to have negative 29x squared, and I'm going to have 68x minus 32. And that's going to be my answer. Okay, I'm going to move on down, and we're going to be multiplying a trinomial by a trinomial. Okay, with my trinomial times trinomial, I can go ahead and use my box method here. And each box represents a different term. So I'm going to take the 5n squared on top here, the negative 4n in the middle, and the negative 3 on the end. And then I'm going to take my second trinomial, and that's going to be 7n squared. 6n, and then my negative 5. I'm going to multiply each one. So 7 times 5 is 35, and my n's, I add my exponents, so it's going to be n to the fourth. Then I get negative 28 n to the third, and I get negative 21 n squared. Now I'm going to multiply by my second row. I get 30 n to the third, and I get negative 24 n squared. And I get negative 18n. And And then I have my last row. I get negative 25n squared plus 20n plus 15. And again, I want to go ahead and combine my like terms, and what you'll notice is that my like terms are typically on the diagonals. So here's my squares, and those are along the long diagonal, and then I have my n's, and those are along a diagonal as well. So then I can combine like terms. So I get 35n to the fourth plus 2n to the third. And then I have negative 25 plus negative 24 plus negative 21, and that gives me negative 70n squared. And then I have plus 2n, and then I have plus 15. And that is my multiplied polynomial. Okay, last one, I'm going to go ahead and use a distributive property on this one. So I'm going to distribute 3x squared all the way through this second trinomial. Okay, so I'm going to have 3x squared times 2x squared, which is going to give me 6x to the fourth. And that's going to give me negative 12x to the third. And then that's going to give me 18x squared. And now I'm going to move to my middle term, 5x, and I'm going to distribute it through the second trinomial. And I get 10x to the third. And then I get negative 20x squared. And I multiply my last terms, I get 30x. And now I'm going to take my last term, negative 7, and I'm going to distribute that. And that gives me negative 14x squared, positive 28x, and then that gives me negative 42. So now I'm ready to combine my like terms, and it looks like my x to the fourth is my largest one, so that's going to stay 6x to the fourth. Then I have an x cubed here and x cubed here, and that's going to give me negative 2x to the third power. Then I have a square term here, a square term, and another square term. So that gives me 18 minus 20 is negative 2, and negative 2 minus 14 is negative 16x squared. And then I have my x terms, so I have 30x and 28x, and that adds together to give me 58x. And then I have my constant, negative 42. So this is the product of the trinomial. And we are done.